with tea being the second most enjoyed beverage in the world, right? We think of our microcosm of the United States and coffee reigns supreme, but everywhere outside of us, outside of water, tea is the next thing that they enjoy. Because it's so easy. You take some leaves, some hot water, and you wait a few minutes, and then you have this beautiful beverage. And also
medicine.
Yes, it can be. Exactly, exactly.
Tea can really help you to explore, or making tea, drinking tea can really help you to explore the relationship that you want to have, like with this certain type of plant, like you said, like a lavender, mint, whatever works for you. If you're whatever you're trying to do, if it's digestive or immune system or nervous system, but you can explore this relationship with plants and get to know the plant a little bit more and how it works with your body. And there's so many plants to explore.
Yes.
But like you said, everybody was using literally going outside, using what was in their backyards, things that were available that nature was already providing for them.
Absolutely.
Welcome back to another Urban Eden podcast with your host, Taryn Lewis. I'm so excited to be here again for another holistic conversation. Today, we are going to be having Brandi Shelton from HnE Tea Company. And if you're from Atlanta, you've been in Atlanta, then you should already know this tea company because they are taking over Atlanta and the rest of the nation with their good tea blends. So today we're going to be talking about tea. We're going to be talking about Brandi's journey, talk about her role within holistic health and how she portrays her holistic health and does her holistic health endeavors and takes care of herself and her healing practices, and then how tea is a really great healing practice as well for us to get in touch with our mind, body, and spirit. So I know I got to start off with my formal introduction, but to just begin as far as what I know about Brandi, I just know her to be an amazing co-founder with her husband with HnE. Well, at this point, you say co-founder.
Right.
They was there all along because marriage is just one whole business situation anyway. She's also a mother, and then she's also the tea lady. We about to get into her formal. And also, just on my end, she is a fashionista, okay? She always got the styles going on. So, yes, she inspires me fashionably. She inspires me. Fashionably. Okay, so let's get started with this formal introduction. And this was actually really good to read because I did not know that you were born in New Orleans.
Yeah, who that?
Who Brandi was born in New Orleans, also known as the Tea Lady. She grew up with a grandmother that had a concoction for every ailment. While traveling abroad, Brandi found herself visiting tea rooms as a way to learn the lay of the land and meet new friends over a cup. Back in the States, blending tea leaves with a little bit of fruit or herbs became her way of making the perfect cup. Brandi decided she would make fun and fanciful blends and share it with the world, and HnE Tea Company was born. Since 2006, she's blended what feels right and tastes delicious, simple but innovative with lots of love. Brandi and Just Add Honey have been featured in Essence, New York Times, Black Enterprise, MSNBC, Travel Noir, AJC, and dozens of other print and news television publications. Mr. Just Add Honey, Jermail Shelton, offers a smile, kind words of encouragement, and is the perfect taste tester, joining the company in 2008 when he said "I do" to the tea lady. He juggles wholesale accounts, mobile tea bars, online sales, and daily operations. When there's a minute of downtime, you can find Jermail enjoying time with the family, traveling, kayaking, or hiking. And so without further ado, guys, let's give a warm round of applause for Brandi. Welcome, Brandi.
Hello. Thank you. It's interesting hearing people read your bio because it's like, oh yeah, Yeah. That's right.
Yes, I'm excited. Even like I said, when reading your bio, I'm like, wow, I can't even wait to just hearing about like how you traveled the world and how you got the inspiration. I think just also as a founder, just how amazing it is to just have a business and other people using your product or something that you created that started from like your journey, your idea, and it's flowing and it's growing.
Yes.
It's an amazing feeling.
It's been a fun journey.
Yes.
18 years.
18 years. That's half.
Right. Mine too, girl.
Almost half my life. Okay, so before we jump into and learn more about Brandi, I do want to feature a product, our limited edition. What month are we in? September, my favorite month again, y'all. This is my birthday month. Shout out to the Virgos. Our September limited edition products are featuring tea tree, lavender, and eucalyptus. We have a lavender and eucalyptus bar soap, and then we also have our lavender and eucalyptus body oil. I'm gonna let you smell that.
I was
Check
like,
that out.
tea tree, lavender, all my favorites.
All your favorites.
Oh my gosh.
Antibacterial, super cleansing. To me, it reminds me like it's a medicinal bar, but of course it has that lavender to give it that like nice sweet scent.
What I love is you can smell all three ingredients like separately and then also together very well.
And see, you know the nose,
Wow.
what they say, how you like lead with your nose or be able to see with your nose. You should know about that during the tea blends. You got to smell the different blends. And even with the essential oils, that's what I'm always just trying to work on is like creating that synergy between the essential oils so that you can get a little bit of everything. It's like food, but it's soap.
Yeah, because like the eucalyptus, it starts off bright, and then the warming of the lavender and like that soft finish. I'm like, you probably don't want me
and
to
then
spend
here,
this
put a
whole
little bit
episode
of
sniffing.
This the body oil. Put a
Okay.
little bit of that on your hands and
All
get
right.
you a little relaxed. So we just
Can I
with
take
the
off my
vibe,
sweater and hit my elbows?
Do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. Okay. But yeah, that body oil, that's something that's nice and light. I'm actually gonna give both of these to you for
Seriously?
Yes, I am, for coming and spending some time with us today. I appreciate it. I already know that the conversation about to be good.
Why you stop playing? Wow.
Yes.
And it goes on really smooth and evenly. And a little bit goes a long way.
Long way. You really
Okay,
need look
I'm
with as much as
shining.
you put on the hands. You're like, I
Listen.
got to get the arms. and
Listen, I'm
elbows.
about to get the ankles too, and y'all not looking. This is listen,
The hair,
baby. I'm gonna be urban eating all day. Don't play with it.
all
Okay.
day. I love that.
Okay,
you
sorry.
Yes, you could put the body oil in your hair. We get questions all the time. People are like, can you put the body oil in your hair? I'm like, you could do that too. Like natural ingredients, natural products should be good for the whole body for the most part.
Oh, look at me.
Girl, she's shining.
Okay, I'm sorry.
She's shining. We on the same vibe too. We got the green nails. We got the green nails. We in it. Okay. All right. So sweet. So now that we done did all of the proper things, talked about urban eating, y'all go check out that September limited edition products. Let's get into the nitty gritty and let's start with Brandi. Like, first of all, with that about us, where you said you grew up with your grandmother creating different concoctions for ailments. Like, I want to hear about that.
Yeah, so I grew up with my mother is, shout out to Virgo, she's a Virgo as well, and amazing woman. But my grandmother was born in 1908, and so she was in my life until I was 22 years old. And so evolving with her, she didn't measure anything. She had a small garden in her backyard. We washed our clothes on the line and washed them and then put them on the line. And, she was a lot of the foundation, in addition to my parents, of course, but she was a lot of the foundation of who I am today and how I move and that slow, intentional, being careful with your words and how you act and being a lady and all of those things. So, it was a little ginger ale. We know ginger ale, but we also know your mints and your lavenders. She even made this sweet tea growing up with a little bit of orange juice, and we called it Mississippi Mud. Wow. So it was just little things. We ironed all of our napkins. Exactly. We ironed handkerchiefs. We set the table. We ate on china. All of those little touches that she instilled in us is like still present this day in our company, our brand, and how intentional we are in moving. And so not as fast as everybody else, but it's slow and with intention, and I think the right way.
Right. Wow. I love that you said like with slow and with intention as well. And I first of all, let's pay homage and give honor to your grandmother for leading that and paving that path for you. We all need that at some point, and sometimes we probably don't even think about it till we get older. You know, the things that we were learning when we were younger and that our grandparents were showing us, or our parents, the people that came before us, and then you start to incorporate those things when you get older, and then you think about them and just, you know, pay homage to them. We are their wildest dreams.
Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, so then with you, so this was all in New Orleans. So with you learning and having this background and this upbringing, like at what point did you decide to go travel the country? And
So with my mom, we traveled all the time. So I remember she pulled us out of school for a week, and she was like, "Oh, we're going to Hawaii, and we're going to a luau, and you guys are going to take surfing lessons." Wow. So we were like, "Okay," you know. Or it was easier for us to go to Canada for spring break than it was for us to just go to South Carolina. So it was something that my mother always did. She was very intentional about celebrating life. And so as I got older, through college and life, I would just pack up and I would say, okay, well, I'm going to Paris for a couple of weeks, or I'm going to London, or I'm doing this, or I'm doing that. And I saw that with tea being the second most enjoyed beverage in the world, right? We think of our microcosm of the United States, and coffee reigns supreme, but everywhere outside of us, outside of water, tea is the next thing that they enjoy. Because it's so easy. You take some leaves, some hot water, and you wait a few minutes, and then you have this beautiful beverage. And so,
and also a medicine.
Yes, it can be. Exactly. And so enjoying that, I remember I was in, was it Austria? And there was this little alleyway, and something called me to the alleyway, and sure enough, in the back of the alleyway on the right was a tea shop. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
In an alleyway, like in the back. So it's kind of like a small, kind of like a hole in the wall or
like
little nook.
I probably shouldn't have gone in an alleyway kind of energy. And sure enough, there was this tea shop, and it was just beautiful. And you're visiting? Have you thought about going to so-and-so? What about here? And then you make like fast friends, because everybody's starts with a cup of tea, but they end with like, oh, this connection. And so that is what I found every time, everywhere I went, like finding different energies and synergies over a cup of tea. Like even in Morocco, they'll leave a cup out, expecting, if they invite you over, like if I say, oh yeah, Taryn and I are coming for tea, they'll have a third cup expecting you or Taryn to bring another friend. So like that community portion of it is what tea is thought to be, and what I've shown it and proven to be in almost every single interaction.
Wow. Yeah, and it's something that's extremely ancient. That's so cool that you traveled around the world. And even when you said that, that reminded me, like one of the first places I went to out of the country was Jamaica. And I don't know if I showed an interest in herbs or this was just something that they did, but they pulled cerasee off the plant, and they was like, we call this bush. They was like, we call this bush, and I was like, okay, so how to take the bush? They was like, put it in some water. Yep. We drink this every morning. They was like, yes, this is preventative medicine for us. We drink this every morning, and I was like, wow, just seeing that connection, because like growing up for me as a child, like my grandmother was there and they were definitely like making teas, but I just didn't make that connection just growing up that plants, water, tea,
right? Where
some people grew up just drinking tea or drinking coffee, or their parents were already on that. So like you said, other cultures, that's just something that comes natural for them, and that they continue to pass down. I don't know, I feel like here, we do have culture. Black people here have culture. It's just like we have had to build our own culture, but I don't know if like tea has always been a part of that culture. Do you feel?
Well, I mean, if you think about like hibiscus, so you were talking about Jamaica, hibiscus derives from Egypt. And so if you look at the journey of where people enjoy hibiscus, they're generally along the transatlantic slave coast, right? So you think of your Costa Rican cultures, your Caribbean cultures, your Mexican cultures, because we carried those rice, those hibiscus, those chamomile seeds in our hair or in the hem of our garments and brought them along with us as we were traveling to new worlds. And we planted those seeds, we planted those flowers, those herbs. And so you see, of course, they all dated back from Africa, and now they're in these places where those ships and boats passed along. So I think it's always been in our culture, and it's always something that we've carried with us. Or even being from New Orleans, right? They think about voodoo, and voodoo is just a way of life. It's a religion, and the advertise for bad is shown, but that that spirit of good and herbs and mixing concoctions and healing is also something that is not celebrated or like shown. They just show you the
bad parts,
the doll energy, but that even in that there is like some type of like happen and consequences, right? So even with your herbs, okay, I don't feel this way. Okay, I do have an herb or something to kind of mix, make, and bring you back whole again.
Bring something together. And that's what I was just thinking about, even when we were just talking about how tea can really help you to explore, or making tea, drinking tea can really help you to explore the relationship that you want to have, like with this certain type of plant, like you said, like a lavender, mint, whatever works for you. If you're trying to, whatever you're trying to do, if it's digestive or immune system or nervous system, but you can explore this relationship with plants and get to know the plant a little bit more and how it works with your body. And there's so many plants to explore. Yes. But like you said, everybody was using like literally going outside, using what was in their backyards, things that were available that nature was already providing for them.
Absolutely. And I think it's also a personal journey, right? So with Just Add Honey, we don't do this, I guess best way to say it, we don't do this blanket, this is going to fix this specific thing, because I have to know what you're eating. I have to know your lifestyle. I have to know when you're going to drink it, right? I can easily say, this will make your skin better, or this will do this. But if you're only going to drink it at night, you're not washing your face with Urban Eden. If you're not, eating properly, it's a moot point. So it's a personal journey on herbs. And of course there are some like general overarching herbs that we know, okay, ginger helps with digestion, or lemongrass helps with anxiety, or rose is a laxative. Like we know those things, but it is something that you have to kind of sit with yourself and be like, okay, I'm not going to see results tomorrow. What is it for me? And so we like to ask the customer, like, what do you want this tea to do for you? Do you want to uplift? Do you want to relax? Do you just want something that tastes good? Like, what do you want? And then we can direct you from there.
Right. I love what you were saying too, just because, like you said, tea is definitely like one aspect. And that's what I always tell people with Urban Eden, because we answer like our customer service line. So people are always asking like, well, what can I use for our skin? And that's why we even have these conversations here on this podcast, because it's not just a one size fits all, or you do this one thing and it's going to change your whole world. It's going to probably like open you up to something new, like, oh, dang, I'm drinking this tea, I feel good, or I'm using this skincare and I'm seeing the skin results, my skin is responding better. But like you said, it's really a whole practice. It's not something that happens in a day. It's not something that happens overnight. It's really a lifetime journey of you just continuing to do those things that are making you well, your optimal being. It's your lifestyle. It's what you're putting into your body, what you're putting on your body.
Absolutely.
What you're consuming with your ears and watching.
Yes.
It's some of everything.
A little bit of everything. You're absolutely right.
It is a little bit of everything. So I wanted to go back to, just even before we dive deeper into tea, like, at what point did you have the aha moment when you're traveling around the country trying different teas? Like, at what point, where were you in the country, in the world, that just was like, I need to start a tea company? And, how did that journey kind of evolve for you, with you learning more about teas and different herbs and what they do?
I think it wasn't around the country that it like was the aha, but I do think I was always like, okay, give me 2 tea bags, but I'll take this one and this one. So creating like my own blend out of what was there. It was coming back to the States, and it was this burst of DIY moment. So Etsy was popular, or Martha Stewart was really popular at the time. Donna Hay, shout out to B. Smith. So you see all these different makers and purveyors of like that home tinkering kind of energy. And it was then when I was like, oh, I would just go to a local herb or a health food store, and I would just buy little baggies of all these things and make blends. And because I enjoyed making something, like I even tried baths. I tried making bath salts one time. I tried making soaps. I tried I just wanted to make stuff, right? And so tea just grounded me. It made me feel a certain way. It invoked memories of those travels. It invoked memories of my grandmother or time with friends or any of those things. And so when it was time to give gifts to people or from a job that I've done or anything like that, I would give them this handmade something. And it was the tea that kind of stuck for me.
It was always like well received when you.
It was well received. Yeah. It was fairly easy to make. I mean, but being my grandmother, I didn't measure anything, right. So consistency was a hot mess initially. But just making that felt good, and the end result of the flavor profile or the customer reaction, it was also not specific to a gender or not specific to a person. So all of that kind of encompassed, I think I'll try this. And another friend had started a soap company at the time, long time ago. She's no longer with us. But she was like, well, I'm doing a booth at this thing called the Emmett Park Festival. Or I'm doing a booth at this. You should set up next to me. And I was like, what do you mean? Like get a 6-foot table, put a tablecloth on it and sell it? And so she was like, yeah, you should do that with me. And I was like, all right. And I love the energy from customer reaction. I love the energy of just being in the moment. I love meeting other makers.
Being at the market.
Yes.
It's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world. And so from that, I just said, okay, let's try it. Let's try this out, because I had a full-time job, a full-time freelance job. And I was like, let's just try this out on my downtime. And here we go.
And the tea was born. Also, I want to know too, how did you come up with the name? Because it's so like when you literally just add honey, it's like simple, but it's clever. How did you come up with that?
I tried a whole bunch of names too. I was like, something tea, cafe, den, blah, all these.
Trying to be complex when
it's really complex, right?
Yes.
And so finally, I was like, okay, just add honey. I mean, what else do you do with tea? You can just add sugar, but that doesn't sound cute. Just add sugar. And my logo was made by a friend, and it was the way initially the J was how my mom used to sign her name. And so it started there, and there was this cute little bee on the end that was like the bee had signed it, and the wings were a heart, and it was like we had thought all about this. And then people kept calling and was like, okay, so what kind of honey do y'all sell? And I was like,
so they were thinking you were a honey. Wow.
I had no idea. That's why you beta test stuff right now, right? So then I finally redrew our logo myself, and it's a shape of a teacup and the word tea company is in it for that very reason, because I would at least 10 times a day, okay, so it's allergy season, you got any honey? And I was like, hey guys, we're a tea company.
Do y'all sell any honey?
Yes, we do. We actually do. We sell honey from beekeepers all over the United States for that very reason.
I was about to say, y'all definitely got to be selling some honey.
And we have our own line of honey too. So
really?
Yes,
nice.
Yeah. So because of that very reason,
I gotta get some. It's so wild just how because honey is healing. It's a medicine in itself, and then tea, the different herbs are healing, the medicine in itself as well. So it's we think of, like, I just know for me growing up, like, my mom always made, like, sweet tea, or my family members always made sweet tea, so all I ever knew was tea. But then even when I think back on it, my mom used to actually do, like, lemon, honey, water when you had, like, a sore throat or something, but you didn't necessarily think that was, me growing up, I didn't think that was tea or think that was kind of like medicine. It was just like something my mom was telling me to take. And then, of course, you're doing the tea bags, the little black tea and the tea. And then when I started to get a little bit older and started getting into farming, then that's when I found out more about, like, loose leaf teas. Yes. And I've been a loose leaf tea girl ever since then. Like,
shout out.
Like, loose leaf tea is just, again, too, because you can blend it. You can get different blends from people, but you can do your own personal blends, just knowing, like, what you need personally for yourself and what kind of herbs would be speaking out to you. And, again, it's all personal. Tea is a personal thing, how it makes you feel, what it's done for you, what you blend it up into is personal.
Absolutely. And it has so many endless combinations. What I love is if you take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, it creates something else. And you could take these same things and change the proportions, right? So if you do a 60-40 versus a 70-30, it's going to taste completely different. And so one item is going to shine versus one ingredient to be the star. Some do really well together. Some do better separately. So it is really very personal because there are endless combinations of blends or flavors or a profile that you can create from a tea combination.
Is there a science to blending tea? Like, I mean, of course, initially when you probably start, you're just doing whatever. But I guess, like, even as you maybe in business or if you want to kind of get more deeper, is there like a technical science to
there is. I mean, there is in terms of blending for consistency, right? Or blending depending on the herbs, fruits, and flowers that you use. Some people use natural flavorings. It's not our ministry, so you won't see us with a cherry something because cherries on their own really don't have enough flavor or pack enough punch to be labeled in the tea. Now, there might be actually dried cherries in something, but it's more for the medicinal part of it than it is for the flavor part of it. Because cherries are great for relaxation, immune system, all of those things. So if you do see that, I'm not advertising it as a flavor. I'm more sharing it as a benefit. Or if you think about something with grapes in it. Grapes, while the actual raisin itself does great in terms of adding a little bit of sweetness to it, but it won't taste like grapes, right? Or it won't even taste like raisins, So that is how we operate. We operate with using actual ingredients. So if you wanted to, you can open up our farmer's market and you can bite into the tomato, the cucumber, the apple pieces, and together they make this beautiful, bright, like crisp blend. But there's nothing else in it that would be like, well, how do you pronounce that? Or what is that kind of thing? So we use all real whole ingredients.
That's it. Look, only the best when it comes to tea. And of course, like when you have it as a business, again, like you said, to create a consistency there, just making sure that everything is consistent. Because when customers probably get the tea last time, they're like, okay, I want it to taste the same way. Once they decide that they like a flavor,
that's how you establish trust, right? Or just being able to communicate to that customer. I remember one time we had outgrown a supplier of dehydrated coconut because we have a tea called black coconut, and and then we found another supplier, but they had sulfur in their coconut. So we pulled everything off the shelf, and for a while people were like, where is the black coconut? And I was like, well, I could give it to you, but it doesn't meet our mission statement. So give me a minute. I'll find what I'm looking for. It's a needle in a haystack, but I'm going to find it. And then once I find it, then we will recreate it again versus just putting something out there on the shelf just because you're knocking at my door. And so it sometimes, it does create a little bit sometimes inconsistency in are offering because
you got to source it.
yeah, the sourcing part can feel like, lady, just give us the tea, kind of thing. But then at the same time, then I feel personally responsible if I'm giving you something that doesn't align with what I said I was going to do when I started this company.
I resonated with that so much. I'm like, because people are always like, they want this. Like even with us, with Urban Eden, we only do essential oils. Like we don't do any synthetic fragrances, and even like you said with natural flavors, because you don't know when they throw natural flavors on everything in the ingredients. What is natural flavors? What is that? And why is it in tea? Because actually I did get it. Somebody gifted me a tea that they got from somewhere, but it said everything else in there looked good, but it said natural flavors. And I was like why? And what is that? What is that?
And they don't have to specify, right? So while it's like, okay, I get it, and we don't do that for certain other products in our shelves, on our skin or whatever. What we do in this house, in the Urban Eden, in the Just Add Honey house, we're not going to compromise on that for us.
Right. And you're a founder. I love hearing that too. I could connect because it shows that you're a founder who cares. Like you created, like this is your baby. Your products that you create, your brand is for right now while we're working within our brands, that's our identity.
Yes.
And that's our reputation and stuff. And it's just like the things that we have decided for ourselves, the journey that we've set aside, like we know that personally we don't want to consume like things that we don't know. Like even when I started making soap, I knew that there's a way that you can make soap where you can like just melt it, add ingredients and then pour it, but you didn't make the base from scratch. And I was like, it was so important to me to actually like make a base from scratch, to know exactly like what's in there and to be able to control from creation from A to Z pretty much.
Absolutely. And that's that slow intentional, right? So you might, and it may not be like your neighbor. I don't even want to use your word competition, but it may not be what the neighbor is doing. Right. But what you're doing is what is important to you. And if that resonates with you, then you found your tribe, right? But then that's also very, back to the herbs, it's personal. You have to decide, does this resonate with me? Right. Is that important to me? And then that also comes with a price tag.
It does. Yes, because stuff is pricey, man.
Yes.
You gotta pay for water these days. Like everything you gotta pay. You gotta pay for everything to get some good quality water. Now I'm glad that you brought us back to talking about slow and being intentional and being mindful. I think I should have looked at the passage again, but just even my own journey with tea, and I was just reading a book the other day, and they were talking about that's what tea does for you. Like, and even me, like I've drank tea for years, but just recently, you have different phases in your life. So just recently, like the beginning of September, I drank a cup of tea, and the weather's changing right now. You getting those cooler mornings, and I'm like, wait a minute, why am I not starting every day with a cup of tea? Soothing.
Yes.
Slow morning.
Yes.
Getting your mind together. And it feels like it actually kind of, they say drinking water kind of like wakes up the system. But to me, tea kind of like just goes up in everything, every part of the body, and just like is waking up the system. Like, and it also relaxes your mind, relaxes your nervous system. And I think it kind of gives you time to kind of like think about your day. And to me, it's different than coffee, even though they have like teas that have caffeine or teas that can like give you that energy boost. But coffee, makes you, for most people, for me in general, makes me jittery. Of course, you gotta go to the bathroom, like, and it's just that, and it keeps you up with that, oh, I gotta move fast, I gotta keep on the go, I gotta have this energy, where tea is like, you cool, relax.
Yes, tell somebody. I mean, I drink coffee, but I call it the one-hit wonder because you know exactly what you want out of it. And sometimes you always are chasing that first cup, throughout the day, versus tea is that grounding. And so if you do have a lot of stuff to do for the day and you need grounding to achieve it, then yes, you drink a yerba mate, which is a South American herb that is high in caffeine, but it has the theanine in it that will kind of give you that well-balanced burst throughout the day without giving you that crash that sometimes coffee may give you. Or if you are, taking on mommy roles for the day and you just need something to stay with you for the day and ground you because you had a long night, then maybe you're drinking something with holy basil or tulsi in it with a little bit of warmingness of ginger or some peppermint or something like that, just to kind of like sustain you, help you plant your feet and then kind of keep your head focused on it. Or, it's a beautiful summer day and you just need a companion to ride with you. You might just do like some hibiscus with some, a little bit of cinnamon or some lemon or orange peels in it and kind of just get you going because it's a nice ice refreshing beverage. So yeah, so like it can meet you where you are and do whatever you need it to do for you. But I love it first thing in the morning because it allows, you can't rush a tea bag, dump it in there. I got you. Let's go. Versus loose leaf tea, you actually get more out of it if you use it the way it's intended, right?
What do you mean by that?
So like if the brewing time, say 5 minutes, you want to set your timer, listen to your water with its roll and boil. Go ahead and pour it on the tea leaves if it can withstand hot water. And then give it those 5 minutes that it deserves to then give back to you. And then after those 5 minutes of it steeping, you remove those tea leaves from the cup. And then you can have a second cup later. Right. So like you can re-steep those leaves. You can't do that with a tea bag. No. The next cup of tea in a tea bag is water. Right.
A little faint water.
So yeah, so I think, you giving into yourself for those 5 minutes, the tea is going to give back to you in what you asked for from it. So.
That's true. And what I find interesting too, wait, what did I find interesting? No, for real. To me, making tea is really like a ritual.
Yes.
It's really like a ritual. That's why I say, like, even starting it in the morning, I know that for me in my mind, most of the time I'm thinking I'm heavily teed up like when you get sick. But it's like really tea is great for being a preventative, like I said earlier, it's a preventative measure because like even elderberries, like you can make a tea with elderberries or everybody's doing like an elderberry syrup, but you can put tinctures in teas or just use your loose herbs and echinacea, just different things that are already helping with the immune system. But then I've also just been exploring teas as far as like I was sick a lot earlier this year, so I was like, I'm not gonna be sick this year coming into this like colder season. I also had just given birth to, so I guess my immune system might have been a little down, but right now because I'm still breastfeeding, I have a 1-year-old, I'm really just doing, and I'm my hormones, probably all out of whack from giving birth. All the things. I'm really just doing like nutritive teas right now that are given. So I do like nettle. I do like a little hibiscus in there, alfalfa.
Oat straw.
Oat straw, yes. Like the ones that you can kind of like take every day and that still like helps to just give you those nutrients that you need sometimes. And that is a good thing. Like maybe, diet is definitely important, but possibly if you're not like your diet probably isn't the best, you can get some nutrition too from the teas as well.
Yeah, and even like the ones that you mentioned, they're full of A, C, E, rose hips. It has more vitamin C than an orange, right? So adding a little bit of rose hips or seeing teas that have rose hips in them can help with being that preventative for your immune system to help you like fight off colds or even before those colds are onset. Or raspberry leaf, it's great for the ebbs and flows of the cycle. So taking it the week before your menstrual cycle is great to kind of help regulate those those onset of crashes and cramps and all of the things. So herbs have so many wonderful properties that if you tap into it personally, you can find something for your lifestyle.
That's what it just reminded me with the last podcast when I was talking to Shamika, and I said there's a herb for everything.
Yes.
There's a plant. So that's why I'm like, there's a tea for everything.
There is a tea for everything.
Are you one of those people, because they got that meme where they be like, every time somebody be like, ooh, I got a headache, they be like, did you do some yoga?
Yeah.
You better say, are you always like, I got a tea for that?
I am. I'm like, are you drinking enough water? And
first
then,
and
if that's
foremost.
First, and then number 2, okay, let's get you some tea.
Right. Oh, speaking of you talking about drinking enough water, so I know most of the times, like when I look at any type of research where they talk about even like liquid fast or anything where they talk about like hydrating more, they say like you could still drink herbal tea. So like, some people don't like the taste of water or what have you. Is a herbal tea, could it still, because technically it's water, would you still consider it like a good way to hydrate you, a good kind of like way to drink water if you're maybe not like a water fan?
You can. again, I always say, talk to a professional.
Right.
What other things are you doing? Are you going from like a high to a super crash, right? Even when you're starting any kind of fast, with a juice fast, it's supposed to juice, water, whatever those fasts are, you're supposed to wean yourself off of items versus going from like, 100 to 0. So I know for me, I like adding a cinnamon stick to my water, and that helps me enjoy it. And then the cinnamon helps with like inflammation or my joints, because I think I'm a runner in my head, but I walk really fast.
So are you just putting cinnamon, just cinnamon?
A whole cinnamon stick, and I just dump it right in my water bottle.
And boiling. Oh, just regular, just in your regular water.
Yep.
Right, just getting that infusion.
And just getting the infusion. You can do the same thing for, a couple of pieces of dandelion root, or depending on what you are wanting to just kind of nourish yourself with. I wouldn't go so far as doing a complex tea of several ingredients,
right.
Because it can make you actually more hungry.
Oh, okay.
Or it may. What are you actually resetting for?
Right. I heard too many things can kind of cancel out maybe one of the herbs or the benefits, or if you don't necessarily know the blend.
Exactly.
Process, right?
Yeah. Like even we do tea blending classes, and so we always limit people to like 3, maybe 5 herbs if they're making a chai. But anything after 3, either you're going to waste your money or you're not going to get all of the benefits that you want out of it, because now they're competing all in your poor little body going,
right.
me first,
What are we even fixing first and foremost?
Hello, yeah, what was the point of this? So,
right.
yes.
Ooh, you mentioned chai. I remember I first learned about chai several years ago, and when I found out about chai, then of course for those who don't know, chai means tea.
Hello, so tell them. Don't say chai tea.
Don't say chai tea, but black people, we still gonna come up in there and say chai tea because it sound good.
I don't correct them.
But the first time I ever tried chai, it was an amazing blend. But the person put milk in there, and I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, so wait a minute. You can make tea and then put milk in there too. So I'm like, so it still kind of gave like those coffee vibes, or that like warm. It's something a little bit different sometimes with like just drinking tea that's like with water, and then with like a creamier type of like tea, something that's like a little bit more substance a little bit sometimes. And I was just like, I didn't know tea was just this versatile.
I know, it's like heaven, right?
It is extremely versatile.
Yeah.
Wow, you can add milk to it. We've put tea in our soaps. Even when I first started Urban Eating, my original vision too was like I wanted to have a soap and tea company. That's why I didn't put soap company at the end. I wanted it to be tea too, but like you said, it's so many blends, it's so many like herbs, and I would want to do everything and anything, but you can't. You gotta be like real specific, do a range. I wonder, do you ever feel like that? Like you want to make more than what you're making, but it's just like having to stay within that range, or do you just go crazy?
Sometimes, in my house, I go crazy. Right. That's why Jermail is the taste tester, and now our youngest one is the taste tester. But I also know, we're also a business, and sometimes going crazy costs money. And then you got to market the crazy and do all the things to put a real push behind it. So we started doing now, because I was a fashion design major, we have our spring summer collection and our fall winter collection, and then some staples. So I'm able to go crazy for 6 months inside of that capsule, and that gives me excitement and joy and fuels my creativity. And then we've been doing it now for about 5-6 years, a tea of the month. And so a tea of the month allows also that craziness to happen.
Are you doing a new blend with that one, or are you doing maybe something that you already have?
A little bit of everything. So like this month we started a matcha bar. And so and so you can take separate herbs and tinctures and create new flavors with just matcha. Or last month we did a blue matcha. Nice. It tastes like the bottom of a cereal bowl. Next month we're doing Chai-tober. And so Chai-tober, exactly, right? So Chai-tober is taking the traditional chai, which are those 5 Indian spices.
What is it typically?
So typically it's cinnamon, ginger, black pepper, cloves, sometimes cardamom, sometimes vanilla, sometimes fennel, depending on what region of India you're in.
Okay.
And we're like throwing it on its head. So we have a sweet potato chai.
What?
So we add actual dehydrated sweet potato to it to kind of give it this like creamy, full flavor of like fall.
Orange too.
Yes. It's like move over pumpkin, sweet potatoes queen.
Yes.
And then we have an apple chai. So it's like big chunks of red and green apples in it. We have a chocolate chai. So it's like chocolatey and full body. We just or a rose cardamom chai. So we try
making several stops.
Yes,
because I love matcha. And
come get your chai on. Yes.
Matcha and chai. I love that. I feel like just so like even just hearing about you just talk about all the things you do in the business. I'm like we do those like same exact things. Like the soap and even just like creating those limited edition and then doing things seasonally. We're gonna move. We did this year. We did a limited edition like every month, and it was just a little like I was like Lord because I think I don't know how long it takes to come out with like a tea blend, but you got to source everything like you said. That's really what it is. Even for us with soap, it's like soap still needs that like curing period, but then also sourcing because I like to like look into ingredients that I want to use. I think for October we're doing pumpkin. Last year I did chai, so this year okay. Last year I did a chai blend. I mixed some essential oils like nutmeg, clove, cinnamon to make like a chai scent. Good. It was nice, and I can't remember what we called it. It might have been something like spice, but this year we're doing like orange. It's not it's pumpkin like powder, but we're doing like orange, cinnamon, cedarwood, and sage in there.
I want that. I want that.
You want that?
Yes,
you could just go crazy with the blends.
Yes.
You could go so crazy. And then, of course, like, you know, that seasonal inspiration. I feel like now that we're getting into, like, of course, this, like, cooler weather. And, of course, you kind of find yourself, like, flowing with the seasons when you're kind of like in tune with nature. Of course we're a part of society. We be in our phones, we be on computers, but then also just taking that time to kind of like be out in nature and see how the cycles of nature kind of move. We move like that too.
Absolutely.
We're coming out of that summer feeling super active and kind of going into that winter and kind of going into hermit mode a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So we need our tea for sure. But you was on point where you said you could do that. So you could do tea in the summer because you could do it ice.
Yes.
Tea said, don't play with me.
Right.
You could do
Hello. I'm a
year-round
activity.
I'm a year-round activity. I got a little something for you no matter how you feeling.
Absolutely.
What season you in?
I'm still in ice season in the morning and hot in the evening. And then I'll throw something random in the middle. Sometimes the team makes fun of me because I have something called a dump cup. And so it's if you came in the store and you asked for something and there's a little left over, I'm throwing it in a cup. And then the next person will come and I'm like, yeah, go ahead and put that in there too. And they're like, you sure you want that together? I was like, bring it on. And they've been little happy accidents from it. So, I'll drink it all.
And all you got to do is just add honey.
Yeah. Hello. I'm that meme that, the wife gets into the car with the 3 full cups. I am her. I need more cup holders. I always am walking around with a liquid.
Yes. I think that's what makes life kind of hard because especially when you got children and you trying to grab everything. That's why they make those videos where they talk about women getting in the car. We be having our bags, we be having our cups because we got to stay hydrated.
We have to stay hydrated. Moisturized and hydrated.
And mind our business, like literally.
In that order.
Literally. So so I know you said you're in your season. Before we are done, I want to know, like, what's your favorite tea blend? What's, like, your favorite tea blend, your favorite, like, go-to herb?
Ooh.
Your favorite tea blend and your go-to herb?
Ooh, that's a hard question. Because it depends on my mood, right? I'm always drinking our Be Well. And so Be Well is Tulsi, black pepper, ginger, lemongrass, and peppermint. And so it is such a warming combination. I'll drink that in the morning. I'll drink that in the evening. Also, I might throw a little red clover blossom in it. And so there's leaves and blossom, just like I love dandelion root.
That's like a good replacement
Yes,
for like
coffee, yes. But the dandelion root and dandelion leaves taste completely different.
Right.
So I'll do dandelion root and chicory and a little cinnamon with a little bit of honey and milk, and I'll steep it in milk. So that'll be like my coffee replacement sometimes in the morning.
I have to write that one down.
I know, right?
Like,
and get
that
you
sounds
going.
good.
You can even add like a little bit of cacao nibs to it to kind of give it a nice like full malty flavor.
Right.
So those are like my go-tos. And then herb, I think it's, my grandmother got me hooked on ginger. I ginger for everything.
Everything.
Yeah, ginger or cinnamon. I will put cinnamon on everything. There's this lady that has a shirt that says, "Don't forget the cinnamon." I am that girl.
like,
I love ginger and cinnamon. Those two, I'll add it to smoothies, coffee, tea.
That's why you say you need that soap next month. You like cinnamon.
Listen, bring it on. Ginger and cinnamon are my girls.
You're gonna like that ginger. Even no matter all the research that I've done in herbalism and all the things I've looked up, I'm really truly finding out that ginger is great. Ginger is
Yes,
well-rounded.
yes.
Our grandmothers really knew what they was talking about when they said really just go lay down and drink some ginger.
Go drink some ginger. But then, okay, so I was in India, and the tree, a cinnamon tree, is the bark of the so they're peeling the bark back. But depending on the tree are these little nuts that grow, and so in the nuts is the mace. Yes, which are the little fingers on the end that cover the nutmeg.
Oh yes. Oh, so
And so when you put them together, it's the whole tree, and that makes allspice.
and I think garam masala comes from them too.
Exactly.
So that's what. So wow. So you can use parts of the plant, but essentially the whole plant is being used in some aspect.
Even with tea, right? So if you think of like a traditional green tea, depending on what time it's plucked, it might be called sencha. If you use the twigs of it, it's called tencha. If you wait till the end of the season before monsoon comes and it's a little bit dried out, it's called bancha. So they are like, nobody is getting missed, and they are using all of these parts of the herbs and the teas and the leaves. So nature knew what she was doing.
Nature knew what she was doing. And even hey, we're products of nature. Plants are products of nature. I know I once read that the reason why you can get so many benefits from plants, even with the essential oils with actually using the plant, is because the plants are essentially taking care of themselves out in nature. They have to have these antibacterial properties, or they have to have different mechanisms that are protective from things trying to eat them, or other plants trying to be invasive to them. Absolutely. Or different things like that. We see plants as, most of the time, probably just for us growing up, is a plant just looks like something. It's just there doing its thing. But plants are literally a whole ecosystem within themselves. They're part of the bigger ecosystem, but they're a whole ecosystem within themselves. And because they have to fend off and create different properties for themselves, they in turn work for us.
Yes.
They in turn work for us.
But that's why we have to treat them well, right? Because when we are, polluting the air, they're fighting for their lives. And so we want to, consume, ingest, but what they're taking in all of our energy as well. So we have to be good to them so that they can be good for us.
Yep. That was on point. Okay, so I appreciate that. We like plants, just going in depth with plants. I definitely wanted to have you on here just to talk about tea, because tea is just one of those things, like you said, it's really a simple act when you kind of think about it. It's a plant, water, mix, boom. The plant giving you whatever it gives you. But the act of drinking tea, making tea, is just, it allows you to slow down. It reminds you to be mindful, and helps you to kind of balance yourself when you just start feeling off-centered, or even if you just feeling good and you just need a nice warm drink to accompany you having a meal or something like that. Tea is just so well-rounded, and I think it's a vital part of a holistic journey for anybody trying to introduce health and wellness, or stay within health and wellness for themselves. Tea is going to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
It's definitely a part of that.
Yes, and it's one of those things that it's a gift that keeps on giving, right? So making sure that you're giving that time to yourself wherever you are in the day, whether it's you're sneaking away for 5 minutes, it gives you a chance to breathe again, reset, release, renew, all of those things. So, yeah.
Y'all need a new shirt that say "Just add honey and breathe." Just add, or does he say "Just
Yes.
add honey and breathe and relax"? And
Yes,
whatever. But
yes.
just add honey and breathe for sure. I like that.
I like that a lot.
I
Okay.
like that. I think
All
that'd
right.
be a good shirt because, like you said, just add honey and breathe.
And breathe.
I think that'll be a nice vibe.
I need that shirt. I need that shirt.
That's gonna be
I need
dope.
that- right.
That's gonna be dope. So before we close out, you said a lot of amazing things. Is there anything that you want to leave us with before we close out?
Oh, goodness. I enjoy talking to you. This was
I enjoy
fun.
it too. Yes, and you know I'm like it's always the good conversations on the podcast. I be like, okay, we need to get together for lunch. See, we actually get together. It's been a minute. I don't
It
think
has
we've done
been
it
a
this year,
minute.
but we'll get together with our husbands too.
Yes.
They talk business on their side, and me and Brandi be over here on the other side talking about them.
All right. A little bit, but kind of, but not really.
We out here living our lives. I mean, you know, we're just girls out here. We like fashion and
Well, and it's not that often that you get to be with a fellow business owner, right? We keep our head down, and we in the grind, and we're just, staying in our own little bubble and doing our own thing, and trying to be good stewards of the earth and each other. And so it's nice to actually sit across from someone and just be able to share, be your whole self. No walls up, no pretentiousness. We don't even have to talk about business, right? We can just enjoy each other's company, and
That's all we doing.
over a cup of tea.
a cup of tea. That's what I said. So next time, because we like to have a little drinky drink or stuff. So next time,
I like drinky drink too, though.
Like a drinky drink. Next time, we just gonna have us some tea, and then we gonna come together over some tea. Ready? Like no.
I'm gonna bring the drinky drink.
The great
but,
thing about tea, though, you
can
put,
add a little drinky drink to it. Hello.
That's why I love tea.
A martini.
Martini.
Oh,
is that a new tea blend?
right.
Add a little lime in there, something. But yes, okay. So, is there anything that was great? Anything before we leave? Like, what
Oh, I don't want to leave. That's why I'm procrastinating. No, I'm joking. Just add honey.
Pretty much, just
basically,
add honey and drink tea. I mean. I feel like I don't know who listens to this podcast, but if you're listening, I don't know where you are on your holistic journey, but tea is that's one of the most simplest forms of medicine. Everybody, a lot of us are becoming more awakened. We're learning more about plants. We're learning more about holistic modalities. But like you said, some of us might have become disconnected from us, but it's been around since the beginning of time. Our ancestors were drinking tea, taking plants off of plants right outside, mixing it with water and drinking tea. It's wellness. Like plants, that's one of the purest ways to connect with a plant. So
absolutely.
Just add honey and drink tea.
Yes. Start your cup of tea first. Turn on the podcast. Get your little oil, lotion up, sit down and listen. Yes.
And it's a vibe.
It's a vibe.
Tea is always a vibe, for sure, too. All right, well, Brandi, I appreciate you for coming on here. Amazing. Like, I love listening to you guys just, like, share your journeys, share your walks, and the knowledge that you received over the times, because I just resonate so much with it. I'm like, y'all, are we the same person? It's just like that connection, though. Again, like I always reference the flower of life back here is like we're all these little circles, but we are all connected in this one big circle. So we'll definitely be resonating with each other, and the birds of a feather flock together. So.
Yeah, I love it all. I love it all.
Yes, me too. All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all for joining us for another Urban Eden podcast with myself, Taryn Lewis, and we had Brandi on here today. A great conversation about tea. And also, before we close out, she is on Instagram, Just Add Honey.
That's correct.
She's got a... Go ahead and...
So all the social media handles are Just Add Honey. We just opened an event space called the Bamboo House right across the street from our retail cafe. And then our production facility is right next door, right there on the East Side Beltline Trail. In Atlanta, Georgia, and we ship nationwide and sold in stores, restaurants, hotels, cafes, boutiques, all over the United States.
Hello. If you need them, you can find them. If y'all haven't been to that Atlanta Beltline, go check it out and look for Just Add Honey right off the Beltline. Go check out their tea shop and also check them out online as well. And also, go check out Urban Eden. If you have not tried the soaps or anything, go get that limited edition soap and body oil. And until next time, guys, peace.